Bantucentric is recommended for listeners over the age of 16, as it may contain foul language and/or mature subject matter. This podcast is brought to you by Imagine Only Productions.
Welcome to Bantucentric. My name is Buck Rivers, and with me as always is my co-host Cheyenne Finch.
We're a couple of Bantus discussing movies, music, relationships, and pretty much everything else.
Great. So, I went ahead and watched 13 Reasons Why Season 1 to kind of give a follow-up on last week. I thought it was really good.
It's not the impression I got from the text messages you were sending me.
I thought it was entertaining. Yes, there are a lot of issues with it. The writing is absolutely atrocious. The plot in general is okay, but I don't get... okay, spoilers, guys, in case you listened to last week and didn't get spoiled enough. More spoilers. I don't understand how he didn't just go ahead and listen to all the tapes. That bugged me so much throughout the entire season, because everybody in every episode constantly was referencing stuff from further tapes. We're talking about his tape, all of this stuff. And it was like, just listen to him. Just listen to your tape. Listen to all the tapes. That one guy, Alex, I think, he said that he listened to them all in one night. I would have done the same damn thing. Like, really, dude? You waited this long, and you're like, and he's confused, and he's making mistakes, and he's assuming stuff, and it's like people are plotting against you and against the town, and you're just like, I'll just wait and wait and wait, and then I'll keep asking people, what's going on? What's the last tape say? What's... Fucking listen to it. Everybody else is on the same page, and he was confused.
Some people like to take their time, feel the emotions, let the show, or in this case, the tape, sink in.
No. And he was like, because he's listening with Tony, and he keeps pausing and taking the headphones off, and Tony's just like, come the fuck on, bruh. Like, let's listen to it. Like, it's been a while, and he's just like, but what could I have possibly done? I don't know. Maybe keep listening. She was about to say what you did, and you want to pop the headphones off so you can complain.
Like,
I
can't
take it.
She died, and apparently I am a reason, and I can't take it. It's too much pressure.
So find out why, you dumbass, instead of making bad choices the whole season. I feel like most of the problems in that could have been solved had he just listened to him. He could have gotten ahead of this. He could have confronted people sooner. Like, this would have worked much faster, and that's the only issue that I had with, like, the plot. The biggest issue that I had with the plot was just that.
But then there would be no show. If he had just binged all the tapes in one night, the show would be one episode long. He would have listened to all of them, came out, beat up everybody that was on the tapes, and then end the story. Yes. Like, there's no book, there's no show, there's no season 2. Nice. It's done.
Let's do it.
There's
That's
no
how
drama, there's no conflict.
Or at the very least, I feel like if it was me, I would have had him listen to them. Just not show him listening to them all. Just have the assumption that he has, and that we are listening to them in 13 episodes. So then as things go on, he's addressing situations as they go, and things are happening, and he could still be trying to confront people, and everyone could stay kind of vague about it, because they didn't actually say rape until that last episode. So he could still be like, I know what you did, Bryce, or... What was it? Was it Bryce? Okay, I know what you did, Bryce. Like, hey, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And we don't know what Bryce did, and that would keep us like, oh, shit, what'd Bryce do, until the end. But no, they decided they're not going to do that. No. But in particular, I wanted to bring up the controversy, because that was the biggest thing that I was kind of watching for, was this whole controversy, to give my take on it. I don't know what it was about it that people were so upset about. In the 13 episodes of the first season, there are 3 episodes total that start with a major disclaimer being sexual assault or suicide, because those of the 3, 2 are dealing with rape and 1 is the suicide, seeing her actually commit suicide. I don't think that we necessarily needed to see her cut herself, but we did, and so okay. I'm just wondering, like, from you, what you said, maybe season 2 gets crazier, but I felt like it was just any other teen drama. It felt like ABC Family, Pretty Little Liars kind of tone. Like, I think that's why Netflix made it, is because they wanted to reach that sort of demographic, but make it more, mature. And I think they did so. I don't know. The people that are talking about it, they describe it as just being needlessly aggressive with the sexual assault, and that it's just harmful, and that they're just dwelling on it almost to the point of condoning it. And
I don't think they're condoning it at all. Like, I never got the vibe that they were saying this is okay. And even in season 2, like, the principal, spoiler alert, the principal, his attitude towards the whole thing.
Do minor spoilers here, because now I'm actually in it, so minor. Like, you can tell stuff, but I need to get to season 2.
But just, like, I'm just going to tell you, like, the overall attitude of the principal is kind of like, if we keep talking about it, more people will do it. So let's all shut up and just not do it again.
Okay.
And that attitude pisses me off. And if that was the message that the show was giving, then yes, you are condoning sexual assault and suicide by telling people, stop talking about it. We're just not going to deal with the issue. But no, by bringing it forward and showing the emotions of the situation all around from all parties, I think they did a really good job of exposing an issue in its raw form and making people feel uncomfortable. Yeah. And that's why there's controversy, because those people that feel uncomfortable are like, well, I don't want to talk about it. And it's like, no, it needs to be talked about. Now, if you're uncomfortable because you're dealing with a trauma and you don't want to watch it, that's why they give you those trigger warnings at the beginning to let you know this is going to be in it.
That's my biggest thing.
Yeah, it's not like they didn't give any trigger warnings and they were like, watch the show. Like,
exactly. I've had so many people arguing me this week saying that just talking about it like the show tricked them. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, for one, were saying that this show was supposed to be for people with mental illness. That's what I've heard from people. The show never says that. Nothing in the show alludes to that. Even those disclaimers, they never mention mental illness. They mention sexual assault and they mention suicide. At the end of every episode, it's like, if you need to contact a crisis center, here is the number. It doesn't talk about mental illness. It doesn't talk about therapy. None of that, because that's not what the show is about. And I suffer from clinical depression, and that was the biggest reason why I didn't want to watch it, was because it felt like because with me, when I've contemplated suicide, it hasn't been in a I can point out 13 reasons why kind of thing. So it felt like it was kind of spitting on that. But having watched the show, it's not about mental illness at all. Mm-hmm. So what are you mad about? Like, people, like you said, it has the disclaimers. If you are sensitive to these particular things, if you've experienced these things and seeing that again would harm you, then don't watch it. I don't get how all of these people are mad as if this show has done something to them. You decided to watch all of this show. And like I said, it's less than 2 minutes of graphic hardcore intensity in the entire first season. 2 minutes total. You could skip those points. I'm sure they're written down on Tumblr or Reddit or something exactly.
They are. I just shared it on Tumblr. Someone wrote down all the time codes for everything graphic and triggering. They were like, these are the scenes, skip them. Like, they're available to you if you want to know specifically what pieces to skip.
And so that's my biggest thing, is that, like, you can easily skip those scenes. I could have easily skipped them when they started coming up, but I didn't. I was waiting for something that was really going to be incredibly shocking. And I agree that those scenes in particular were effective. I was definitely uncomfortable, and it was definitely hard to watch, but it was not an extended period of time in which this was going on. That's what I mean, is that it was never... It was never doing so much to me that I was just dying. You know, I don't know. People acted like it was just gratuitous violence and assault, and I never felt like that ever actually came to play. And so yeah, I don't know. Also I think that people were saying, I've heard that kids apparently have been glorifying the show as kind of making her out to be the hero of the show because of these tapes. Mm-hmm. And my answer to that is, this is an M-rated show for adults. Why the hell are you letting your kids watch Netflix without any of the child locks on?
Right.
Same thing with literally everything else. I don't think this show needs to be anybody's parent. No show should be anyone's parent. And I don't think that this show needs to specifically warn more than it's already warning its audience about what is in it. About how they should conduct themselves, because plenty of shows and movies feature gun violence, murder, all sorts of different things, and plenty of other shows have featured rape, and plenty of other shows have featured suicide. And we were not saying that these shows specifically allowed kids to do blah blah blah, because when we point at video games and movies for all the school shootings, our generation are the first people to speak up against it. And so I think it's crazy that we're now looking at 13 Reasons Why and being like, but that's promoting suicide. I don't think it's doing that at all. I think it's just adapting a popular book series because Netflix didn't have a Pretty Little Liars-esque series, and now they do. Mm-hmm. That's what it felt to me, was that type of show. And now they've got one, and it's reaching that demographic that liked those sorts of shows on ABC Family. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the directors were the same. It has that exact same tone throughout the entirety of the show. So I don't think it's their job to specifically be like, this is good, this is bad. Even so, in the show, they talk about how big of an asshole she is for leaving behind these tapes. I agree. That's a fucked up thing to do. They say that. They don't glorify what she did. And even near the end, Clay begins to not quite be on her side about this. He just wants to do the right thing for people.
Yeah,
so nobody is saying that what she did was right. No,
they just
nothing.
show like the damage
no
she
part
left
of this
behind.
show.
It's like, this is
exactly
what she did. And not to say that she wasn't targeted or she wasn't a victim. Yeah, she did go through all these things. But her response to the situation is not the response you should take. And I like how they did it.
Her response was her response.
Yeah, they didn't make it seem like, oh, people that commit suicide are bad people. Like, that's not it at all. Mm-hmm. But they made it clear that when you do commit suicide, you are hurting those around you. And especially when you, like, put the blame on someone and now you're no longer here to further explain. Like, you basically said, you're one of the reasons why I killed myself, and that's all I'm going to tell you. And you left. So it shows, like, the damage you leave behind when you do things like that, and how this doesn't solely affect you, and that there are other answers, there are other responses to situations, and that those of us around you should have an ear, like, should be listening, should be helping. We can all do more. The people that are contemplating suicide, as well as those around, we should all be doing more. It's for everyone in the situation.
A lot more. Yeah. And it's about taking care of people and being kind to people while they're alive. Like, if this show is trying to say anything, I feel that everything it's saying is positive and is on the right side. Like I said, I could go on forever about how crazy people are about this, but hearing the controversy initially, I wasn't on anybody's side, but I don't know, I just didn't care. And now having watched it, I'm like, this is the kind of mentality that prevents things from happening. And I'm not coming at this as anti-SJW, stop trying to censor things because PC culture, blah, blah, blah. I'm not one of those. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have shows, I'm not saying that everything should be okay. I'm not saying that the show that does glorify rape is fine and needs to be on, but this is not that show. That's what I'm saying, is that this show is not that, and we are going to stifle artwork that can help people, because this is something that I've never personally dealt with. I don't have any personal close friends that I know who have committed suicide. I've had people that I kind of knew, but nobody that was really close to me has. And so that was a really big deal for me to watch this, because I got a bit out of it, and I felt that it was done very realistically and very respectfully, to the point where I could put myself into the shoes of friends who have told me that their best friend just committed suicide, and I didn't know how to directly reference that feeling because it hadn't happened to me. This show helped out with that pursuit. It's not perfect, but it's being realistic, and it's being helpful, and it's not just rolling around. It's not groveling in it, it's not glorifying anything in it, and you can tell that it does not want to continue showing you these things. Therefore, it doesn't. Like I said, it's not as if they cut back to the rape scene in every episode. That's the way that people have described it, as that it's gratuitous and that they're just rolling around in it. No. The first episode involving it, there was one, and then there was another time where it happens when it's being described and when someone is thinking about it. Both of those scenes are less than a minute long. And then another episode, there is another incident, and then the suicide. That's it. Like I said, less than 30, I'd say less than 3 or 4 minutes of intensity in the entire first season. So I don't know. People need to not do that, because this is something that is good. It's not I don't know, it's not hurting anything. It's really helping people understand. And again, if your fucking kids are watching this show, then it's your fault. I'm sorry, but parents need to be parents, and stop expecting shows to be the parent for you. Stop expecting shows to cater themselves for you. They added disclaimers, and they've said that it's a show for adults. They curse all throughout that show. They're saying the F word. So it's clearly in the R-rated section of Netflix. So why are your kids watching it? I'm not saying that if kids begin to self-harm or whatever because kids interpret stuff in crazy ways, I'm not saying that that's just, oh well, I'm not doing that. But at the same time, I am saying that you need to monitor what your kids are watching, and that shows shouldn't be the ones who need to cater themselves to teach your kids that this is good and this is bad and this is good and that. No, it's not. That's your job. You could watch anything. Lars von Trier has rape all through his damn movies, and none of your kids should be watching Lars von Trier movies, and you know that because he's Lars von Trier, and this is a artsy, graphic nymphomaniac. He's made 2 movies called Nymphomaniac for people that don't know Lars von Trier movies. But those movies, you clearly wouldn't show your child Nymphomaniac and then be complaining to Lars about, hey, there's so much sex in this movie.
Right.
It's called Nymphomaniac Part 1 and 2, and each of those movies are about 3 hours long. Yeah, shut up. So shut up. I'm sorry, but shut up. People are crazy. Don't let your kids do this. Police your kids. I wasn't watching this stuff when I was a child. I wasn't playing M-rated games when I was a kid either, because my parents were parenting me. And if you want to let your kids do that, and then your kids get different stuff, and your kids have different opinions, and your kids are cursing at people the way they curse at people on Call of Duty, maybe your kid shouldn't be playing Call of Duty yet. Maybe they shouldn't be open up to the whole world yet. Maybe you should be a good parent. Maybe you shouldn't squeeze people out and then not actually teach them how to be people.
Overall, it's a great show with an important message that I think just needs to be heard instead of judged and shut down. But I'm glad you're watching it. I'm glad you are feeling it. You're having opinions about it, because that's the purpose of the show. So I'm glad you're part of it now.
I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. Anywho, you know what time it is, Cheyenne?
Rachel Watch.
It's time for Rachel Watch. So, what's Rachel Dozel doing today? This is gonna be an ongoing segment with Bantucentric, following the life of Rachel Dozel. It won't be every single episode unless she's doing crazy shit on every single episode. But what has Rachel been up to this week?
She has been charged with welfare fraud. So not only is she a fraud in her ethnicity, she's a fraud in her bank accounts as well.
Damn. Well, it makes sense because she's black, and we all know that we have a problem with welfare. I can't even joke.
She's picked up all the wrong habits.
As black as possible. Yeah, she's trying to be as black as possible, and stereotypically, she's got the hair, she got the fried chicken, so now she's got the welfare. Here we go. Yeah.
Apparently, she received more than $8,000 in public assistance from Washington State after saying that she received no money or financial help whatsoever, which is all a lie.
Okay.
So she's been accused of theft by welfare, perjury, and falsifying records for public assistance, which are all felonies. So
yeah,
that's a thing.
Does it say what she's looking at as far as time goes?
Not that I see. I know it says that her arraignment hearing is scheduled for June 6th in Spokane County.
Okay.
Her parents didn't comment on this one. They commented on the fact that she is a liar and she is white, but they did not comment on the welfare fraud. So they just kind of backed off of that one. But
well, when we get an exclusive, we will be sure to let you guys know here. Bantucentric will be following this story very closely. So June 6th, expect an update to see whether her ass is going to jail or she will continue to walk the streets. Although that's one thing, if she does go to jail, then we can't really continue with Rachel Watch because she'll be in jail, and I doubt she'll be killing people and making news. If she is, then,
you don't know.
Yeah, that'd
Here's
be
what's
cool.
wild though.
Rachel.
Here's what I just thought of.
What?
If she comes forward and says, "I accept being white," she might get off. She might just get off and be okay.
Yeah.
But if she decides to keep this black thing up, she's going to jail. Like, it's like, how bad do you want to be black, Rachel? How bad?
Yeah, you want to take it? That would be wild. That would be very interesting to see. Is that during her hearing, she happens to have her regular white hair and her skin isn't a little tan anymore, like, so that she can be a small little white lady. Yeah.
Skin red.
I would not be surprised. Because, she
out.
doesn't want to be a black person up there in front of the judge.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't want to be black people when we're up there in front of the judge. We could put on masks. We would do it. Like,
she's now a proud Caucasian woman that is being falsely accused.
Well, I mean, we'll get a chance to see how dedicated she is to the cause. She says she gets it. She says she's one of us, then she will go to jail. I mean, but in this case, she deserves it, though. Like, so it doesn't even matter. Like, she has legitimate reasons to be in jail here. So it's not even like she got arrested and her ass beat for no reason, which I wouldn't say would be a good thing if that happened to her. You know, police brutality is bad. But if it did happen to her... I would, I'm not saying I condone it. It would be an interesting read. That's all I'll say legally.
I just want to hear her stand up in court and say, "This is just another example of the white man keeping the black woman down." Like, I just want to see that
would be
real fast.
Awesome. That would be
I want it.
awesome.
Like, just that. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
That I can die happy.
Man.
Good.
I mean, she'd be stuck with her delusions. I don't know. That's the thing. It's like, it's fucked up that she's taken our identity, but because nobody's on her side here, and she's been fully outed as this insane con artist, like, it's kind of funny now, her pretending to be black. Like you said, if she was to keep up the act, you know, and stand up for the rights of black women in the courthouse, like, it would be funny. I wouldn't even be mad anymore, you know? Like, I don't know.
But
feel
that's
like
the thing, like, I'm not even mad because I believe she's mentally ill. So I fully believe that is how she feels. Like, this court will be attacking a black woman for living her life. As a black woman. And I want to see her stand for that cause and be like, listen, I'm not going to stand for this oppression, white man. Like, I want to see that. And then I'll be like, you know what? Who can really be mad? Like, she truly, her core, believes she's a black woman. Now you can't even be mad. You're just worried. Like, are you okay, Rachel?
Yeah, that's
Let's
true.
talk.
She's crazy. She is crazy, man. That's, that lady is insane. Well, like I said, come back here on June 6th and or whatever Friday is close to June 6th, and we will be talking about this. We'll have another update on Rachel Watch to see if her case goes anywhere. So thank you guys for listening to Rachel Watch. So, you know what else is watching? See, I can't even keep this up.
King of segues.
I don't even know the transition.
King of
segues. I can't even do the same segues this week. Anywho, plugs. Do we have any plugs today?
Well, you know, I always
that pause
like to plug
wonderful.
Sideline Source, of course, because I'm still.
Who wants to really hear about that?
You know what, Mr. I don't watch sports. All right, only black man in the world that doesn't watch sports.
That's true. That's true. Watch esports.
Well, I am still looking for writers and video content creators for Sideline Source. So if you're listening to this and you want to be a part of the project, let me know. If you just want to record yourself discussing something sports related, I'd be happy to edit it for you. Don't worry about making it look beautiful. Just worry about making it sound relevant. And send it to cheyennefinchss@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to make you part of the team. And if you want to write, feel free to send me an example of an article you have written or want to post to that same exact email, cheyennefinchss@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to go over it with you and figure something out. So yeah, looking for team members on sidelinesource.net. Let me know if you're interested.
Cool. That was a very good plug. We actually sounded
Thanks. I've been practicing.
professional this time around. I don't have any plugs either, so I guess then it is time for the Bantu of the Day.
Bantu of the
Day. So who's our Bantu of the Day today?
Our Bantu of the day is Steph, aka Nuts Gaming. Yes, he is a YouTuber. He got his start in what looks like 2014, according to his YouTube channel and his Twitter. He also has
originally went by D's Nuts Gaming, but I think he explained why he changed it. It's probably difficult as far as fan bases go, but yeah, I think his Twitter is still that, but yeah, it's just Nuts Gaming now.
Well, now it's DS Nuts Gaming, so it's like we all kind of like have a silent understanding that it's D's Nuts, but he can't really be like attacked for
yeah, exactly.
D's Nuts. So
well, maybe he just really likes Nintendo DS, like he does gaming.
Yeah.
You know, it's just DS. It's DS Nuts. Come on.
Yeah, that sounds like a really odd brand for like nuts.
Yeah.
DS Nuts.
Or like a rapper. I was thinking of a rapper.
Like
DS Nuts.
But he is definitely an awesome YouTuber. I'm subscribed to him. Yes, I love his Dark Souls videos. I love his Call of Duty videos. I love all his videos. He's hilarious. I think he should have a larger following than he already has. But it looks like...
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, but it looks like right now he will be taking a small break from video games to work on music. Which I'm pretty excited to listen to.
He just tweeted that this week.
Yeah, it seems like he just has like this passion, this urge, which I can completely relate to just work on something and learn to do something different. He recently had a tweet connecting people to his Twitch channel, showing where you can watch him learn how to make music. So I think that's really awesome.
Okay, cool.
The fact that he's taking people through the journey instead of just saying, hey, look, I'm good at making music now. Look at this final product in all of its glory. Like, no, he's taking you on the journey of it, and I think that's amazing. So he's a hilarious dude. He is a talented dude. DS Nuts Gaming.
He really is.
Yes.
on Twitter. Yeah, he's definitely very talented. I always like how a lot of basically what attracted me to him initially is that he wouldn't just play the game and just talk about it. He had jokes that were in there, but he would mix in a lot of music and a lot of kind of cutaway gags and that kind of thing. It was really an experience, and it wasn't just, hey, I'm playing a game in a weird voice like a lot of these different YouTubers are that are playing games. They're just talking a crazy voice. That's kind of it, you know. With him, he had kind of a range of comedy that he would apply, and you could tell it was something that was really important to him. And that's why I'm kind of sad to see that he's not on YouTube as much as he used to be. I hope that he kind of returns to that type of stuff, because that's what I really liked. But I am really happy to see that he is going by what he's passionate about, because I could see the passion in his gaming videos. You know, just watching him play Dark Souls, one of my favorite games, it was cool to see that he was enjoying the experience and that he was trying to think of what can I add to this to make this entertaining content, and not just, well, of course I'm playing a game and that's good enough, because so many of these gamers have great personalities, I guess, but really it's just, like you said, it's just me just talking over me playing games, and I can do that at home. You know, there was production quality in what he does, and so if he needs to take a break because he's not feeling it anymore, I can't see any better reason, you know, to switch to something else, because when his music comes out, we know it's going to be passionate. It's going to be just as deep and as thought out as his YouTube videos were, because he didn't slack off on anything ever. I don't know. I really respect the dude, and I hope he appreciates being the Bantu of the day. I think this is the first Bantu of the day where we haven't said anything stupid and possibly offensive to our Bantu.
Or just read a straight Wikipedia page. Like, we actually care about this Bantu of the day.
Yeah, I like the rest of y'all. But
and
yes,
also this
thank
Bantu
you,
is a
Steph.
fellow East Coast resider, yes.
Okay.
Hashtag New York
Boo.
or Jersey, wherever
What's
you are. East Coast. East Coast.
Nope.
For all of
But
you
yes,
that don't know,
thank
I
you,
live in
Steph.
Manhattan, so East Coast.
Nobody cares. I'm trying to finish
I
this
care.
up. So
I want all
thank
my
you,
East Coast
Steph,
folks to know.
for all that you do. Thank you for
all that
being
you do on the East
Bantu.
Coast.
You're just spitting on the tradition of Bantu of the day right now.
The
And
tradition.
I can't.
Six
do
episodes in. The
Yup,
long-standing
it's a long road.
tradition.
Yes, spitting. Just. So thank you for all you do. Thank you for being Bantu.
Thank you for being awesome.
That's it.
And passionate.
Yes, thank you for being black.
Could have
for
been
making good
anything,
videos.
but you chose us. We appreciate
Yes.
it.
And you have awesome catchphrases. Like, his catchphrases are great. Every time I'm playing Dark Souls, I'm like, it's lit. Every time I light a bonfire, I cannot not
Say
do
it
that.
with
Like,
me. It's
lit. Yeah, he's awesome. Like, that dude
I love
is
it.
great.
And his facial expressions are absolutely hilarious.
Yes, go look him up. Nuts Gaming on YouTube. Watch some of his older stuff. And like I said, man, if you need any help with anything, let us know. Like like that. He's definitely a cool dude. I can tell he'd be fun to work with, and I hope you all the best with your future artistic endeavors.
Keep following your passions.
Yeah.
Don't do it if it don't make you happy. That's my motto.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more with that. So, continuing onward, I have a question for you, Cheyenne.
I'm ready.
So this is something that I've been thinking about for a while in various capacities, and it definitely stems from being a black person that doesn't always quite fit in with other black people. I grew up military, you know, so we were all often on base. We had a very diverse community of people, and as far as finances go, we were never on the lower brackets because we always had a place to live. If we needed to live on base, we could. We always had health care. We could always do that, you know, and so I don't take any of those things for granted, but that that has definitely separated me from a lot of the black kids, especially the ones that I went to church with, because we went to a black church. We went to church on J Street, you know, and so a lot of these kids would look at me as being very different because I spoke differently than they did, and clearly I just wasn't from the same background, you know, and as you would, you know, I get it. I understand the differences, and I get, you know, having people that kind of feel like they're not, I guess, kind of part of the group, you know, and I've always kind of wanted to be, but I never really knew how. And so since becoming an adult, really since I'd say like 2013, about 2013 through 15, through Trayvon to Michael Brown is when I really became a black person, in the sense that it was something that I was never ashamed of my blackness, but yeah, but I was definitely a person who I didn't want to uphold stereotypes, and my parents, they wanted me to never be, I don't know, assumed to be less than, to be less intelligent. And so I kind of took that as being less black. And I didn't mean for that, and they didn't mean for that. But I didn't listen to the music that other black kids listened to, because that music had drugs, sex, and violence. And so I didn't really have a whole lot of black friends. And so after 2014, after Trayvon and everything, I realized that the friends that I had were horrible people, for one. You know, they were fine with animal abuse posts and stuff, you know, anti this, anti that, anti-police brutality. I'd start getting messages, hey Will, you know, your posts are really dark, and I don't know, and you've really changed, and you're not really as nice as you used to be, and all of this crazy shit. Black Lives Matter, bunch of comments, well, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. It didn't matter what issues I was into, I couldn't be into those issues now. And so it was time for new friends altogether. And so to become the black person that I always needed to be, I kind of overcompensated my first few years in college, because everybody wants to reinvent themselves. I was doing the same thing. So I would intentionally sag my pants pretty much everywhere I went for a while there, at least like freshman year, halfway through sophomore year. I was always doing it because I was going to be as black as possible, no matter what, whenever, because fuck you if you don't think I should be, fuck you if you're uncomfortable, blah, 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 I'm going to do this. Right. And so all of that to say, I know I had a question under here. My question is kind of, when it comes to artwork and when it comes to just the work that you do and the people that you hang out with and everything, how much of your life, how much of it is your responsibility to fully support the black community and everything that you do? I was overcompensating because I didn't feel black. And so I was doing things to make myself blacker, you know, throughout life. Now I'm at a point where I'm just kind of me. I'm dating a white lady right now, you know? And so I've definitely had black people who are like, oh, you're not a team player, and oh, you're fucking up, and oh, black love is so important, and you're not supporting that. Should I have not gotten with Alex, who I love with all of my heart and want to spend my life with her, because of this guy who does not respect me? I've been told that in certain circles, you know, I've been told that. I don't have the same respect for you because you don't love black women. Someone has said that to me. I'm not going to name the person, but they really pissed me off by saying that, because I was with somebody who made me happy. And actually, I was doing my best to only date black women, and it felt like this relationship was something that was kind of handed to me, something that I couldn't control. So I'm happy, you know, making artwork. But should my artwork all be black? You know, we were talking about the Boo Hag, and there's an extra angle in there that I didn't notice of how I could make it blacker and more for the cause. It already is starring black people because I want my culture to be in my artwork, but it was not a direct message toward any black issue until that idea came to mind. You know, should I alter my script to add in that because everything that I do needs to promote these issues, you know? Or are the people who just don't care, you know, how much of that is just you? You just being yourself. Should you not be eating the fried chicken at the party because you don't want people to think that black people do this, that, and the other? Or should you be eating the fried chicken because your friends are trying to be black and trying to make people uncomfortable because fuck you, like I was, and so you have to do this, It feels as though black people kind of have to be something all the time. And that gets exhausting.
I think that's like where the problem lies. We should never have to be something. I understand why it feels like there needs to be a responsibility to the black community, and I think that's just so we don't forget to support each other, because as a community we're often like not forgotten about, but we're not as supported and held up. So it's like if we don't support each other, who's gonna support us? Because it's very often that someone else is trying to put us down. So we do need to support the black community and support each other, but that doesn't mean your work needs to be predominantly black. I think your work should be whatever you want it to be. I think your relationship should be with whomever you want it to be. Me personally, I've only ever dated black men, but that is not because I feel a responsibility to only date black men. It's not because I feel like as a black woman, I should only be dating black men because anything outside of that is an insult to my race. No, it's who's been brought to me, and it's who I've been attracted to, and it's just how it happened. And not to say that I've never had a crush or been attracted to another race. I've been attracted to multiple races, but as far as having a long, an actual real relationship, it's always been black men. And there's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just my attraction. It's just how it happened. Just like you are now in a relationship with a white woman, that's not anybody's fault. You have no responsibility to anyone but yourself.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, is that it was definitely a struggle, because of that pressure. Because of that pressure that, one, I had put on myself, and then two, that I was getting from certain people in my circle at the time. It was a very, there was a black girl that I was hanging out with who I was very close to at the time that I met Alex. And so we were getting close, but she was in a relationship and that just wasn't going anywhere, and it just didn't, And then I started hanging out with Alex more, and that became a relationship. There was a definite struggle in my head because I'm just like, there's this girl and she doesn't seem like she wants to be with her boyfriend, and this might end and blah, blah, blah. But I like this girl and I want to hang out with her, but I shouldn't because she's white and that would be bad. And, I don't know. I realized, especially around that time, that I wasn't being me. If I have to only listen to hip hop now because I didn't listen to hip hop as a kid, and I like the genre now and I need to only listen to it because I'm a black man, I need to represent, then I'm not being myself. If I'm not going to see Broadway shows because that's not the black thing to do, then I'm no longer being me. I'm just being a character. I'm being
and
Rachel
Dolezal.
Really I'm dressing up.
That's when we need to stop putting roles and stereotypes on people, because it's the same thing about how you say that's not being black. Another person might say that's not being a man, or that's not being this, or that's not being that. And I think that's really messed up, that we can't be who we are because we were born a certain way. I'm growing up, my mother used to love to dress me in pink, and I hated pink. The moment I outgrew my pink overalls, they were in the trash. And I loved dressing like a tomboy when I was younger. Now I'm older, my style has changed a bit. I still like a relaxed, ripped jean plaid shirt look, but I also like a dress, or I like whatever I'm feeling that day. Sometimes I'll look like a complete boy, and sometimes I'm gorgeous. It varies. But you should do
you're being you.
You should do what makes you happy and what makes you feel comfortable. Whether it's your work, your relationship, your life. If you feel like you can't go see a Broadway play because somebody told you that's not black enough or that's not man enough, that's really that's an issue. And I was actually just talking to my mother about this the other day. We were talking about caring about other people's opinions, and she was having a conversation with me and telling me how I shouldn't have said a certain thing because she's afraid other people will take it differently and like see something differently, or like change it and then they won't understand it. And the entire time she was talking to me, it's not that I didn't care or sympathize with what she was telling me, it's that it never clicked in my head to care about the problem. I was like, and she would say, people are gonna think this about us, and I'm like, okay. Like, it never clicked for me because I've just completely turned off whatever that is that tells me to care about other people's opinions. Yeah. Because I need to put my happiness and my mental health first. Now, should you support the Black community? Of course. If I see up-and-coming artists, like I just went to an event the other day, I saw a lot of Black photographers. I bought some Black art because it was beautiful, and I see another Black person that has a dream and wants to get better and succeed, and I'm like, yes, let's support each other, let's build the community, let's do that. But I'm not gonna walk up to you if I see you're taking pictures of white people. Like, if you're doing like mixed races or everything, or just whatever feels beautiful to you, I'm not gonna walk up to you and be like, you shouldn't be working with white people because that's not supporting your race and your people. No, it's your work, it's your expression. I'm not gonna put a hold on that.
Yeah, and there's definitely been certain ideas that I've had, you know, for scripts and stuff where it's like, I'm imagining a white guy here, but then I've had this feeling like I need to be a Black filmmaker. And so I need to be like Jordan Peele and make a movie that is revolutionary, one, that has to have amazing quality, can't just be basic, because Black people need to be the best at everything, which I agree we have to be in order to get somewhere, but there is that feeling that just being good enough is not good enough because I'm Black and I need to excel, you know? And then also I need to have Black people in all my movies, and I need to make stories that are based around Black issues, around the struggle, around saying something, you know? And it can't just be it can't just be me, you know? Like you said, it needs to somehow help somebody. You know, we talked about Childish Gambino's This Is America, and there were a whole bunch of people debating whether or not the message of his video was valid because he's with a white woman. And so it was like, I couldn't get around it. I couldn't figure it out.
But he's still a Black man. It's like, being with a white woman doesn't mean that you are no longer a Black man.
Yeah, and that he also, and it also doesn't mean that he is just completely unequipped to talk about Black issues, about things that happen to himself. And then also all of his music isn't about Black issues though either. So I've heard people that are like, well, he's trying to represent, and other times he's saying this, that, and the other. And it's like, but he's him. So today he felt like expressing this, you know? President Obama, half the complaints about him from our community were he wasn't doing this, that, and the other specifically for the Black community. I agree it would have been great if he could have done some stuff that helped us, but there were a million other things that he wasn't able to do because they prevented him, you know? So I'm not gonna hate on a guy who did his best to be the president because he wasn't up there saying Black people need this and Black people need that. He couldn't have done that, you know? But he was still the first Black president. That's still awesome. Like, I don't know, he shouldn't have to cater his entire existence around everybody else, because when do you stop being a Black person? When do I stop being a Black man and you stop being a Black woman and you just become Cheyenne and William? You know, why can't I just be? I don't know. Like I said, it's not everybody that's putting that kind of pressure on, but there definitely is that pressure to be something special, you know, because so many other Black people don't get to go to college, and the fact that I have means that I need to be somebody, you know. If I just wanted to take my degree and just sit on my ass and do nothing, it wouldn't just be me letting my parents down. I would feel like I was letting my entire community down because I didn't become somebody, because I made it out and I'm big and now I need to do something and give it all back to the Black community. Every famous, every rich, everybody that's in public eye who is Black, that's been said about them. How much are they giving back to the Black community? Should you have to give it all back to the Black community? Should you have to give anything back to the Black community? All these coons on Fox News, they don't give anything bad to the black community. They're successful. I'm not saying that's a good thing that they're verbally harming black people with everything that they do on the station. But if they were to just be on this news channel and just not follow black issues and not try to hurt us, would they be bad in doing so? Because you're just a newscaster now. Like, or should they then be chasing the black stories? You know, I don't think you should be hurting people with your place, but I don't know. I don't know what that means. What does it mean to give it back, you know, to pay it back? I worry about that. I worry about this, you know, this platform that we have, this us expressing ourselves, you know, and having people say, but you didn't say this, or you didn't address this problem in this particular way, and therefore you guys are doing something wrong, you know? I could totally see that happening to us in the future or right now by some of our listeners, you know, just because we are speaking our own personal truths, and this is a show involving two black people, and therefore everything that we address, you know, we can't talk about 13 Reasons because there's no black people on 13 Reasons, you know, like, I could see people
there's one.
getting upset. Okay, yeah, there is one. You know, like, how far does that go, you know? I don't know,
and she's half white. So
yeah. It's just it's a lot to think about. I know there's no direct answer, you know, for this question, but it's just, I don't know, it's definitely not frustrating, but kind of, I don't know, it's difficult to go through, because I often feel as though when I was a kid I was trying to fit in with white kids. I was trying to be emo because that's what was in, and then they'd say you can't be emo because you're black, and then they laugh at me and tell, you know, subtly racist jokes, and I just kind of had to smile and go along with it because these were the only people I had around, you know. And then I, you know, get black friends, and now it's like, oh, but this and this that is your identity, those things don't seem to be black enough though either, so you should toss those things out. Or now your artwork, you need to make sure your artwork is catering to what we believe and what we feel, because you need to be black now, you know. I can never just be me, and it feels like a lot of us have that pressure of, what do we want, you know? If we don't follow the pages on Facebook that share black issues, that share police brutality, if we aren't all watching that, are we bad for not wanting to see depressing things? Sometimes I feel like that if I was to just shut down those pages because it does depress me day in and day out, that I would be doing a disservice to my people, because I wouldn't be following their struggles enough, you know, that I would need to do more for them, because I'm just trying to block it out and I just don't want to know. And that's what white people do. They don't see what's going on and they don't care. So I need to be depressed every single day seeing another black person get shot in the street, because I need to keep up with it and I need to follow it and I need to be miserable, because we're all miserable. Like, you know, it's that feeling that if you're not struggling, you're not black anymore.
Yeah, I think we should always do something. Like, if you are able to get successful enough, to get big enough to have a platform like that, then you should definitely say something, do something, be part of the change. But to say that you have to change your entire being and what makes you happy simply because you were born black, that's unfair. To say that you can't love a white woman, to say that you have to make all of your movies and your projects have to be about the black community, that's unfair. And this is not to validate those black men that go out here and is like, oh, I would never date a black woman because they crazy. And they're like, and you're pretty for a black woman.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not validating those guys.
And fuck the hotep niggas who like to sit there and be homophobic and sexist, acting like you're getting me to follow your page, and I think it's all cool because I see you sharing stuff, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, a black woman's job is to be in the kitchen. Really? Like, I always follow the page, and then a couple of days later you get a post, yeah, all the black men, they're trying to get us to wear dresses, them homos, and they're trying to take us down, and we need to be men, and shut up. Like, don't listen to our podcast. Like, if you one of them, don't listen.
My whole thing is we need to, like, preach love. Like, too often we have, like, these guys that come out, or, like, these people that come out, and they want to talk about what you can't do, and who you have to hate, and, like, how this doesn't, like, go along with this, whatever. Like, you don't have to change my life or tell me who I can and cannot love or what projects I can and cannot do, just to support the Black community. Like, I'll buy your art, I'll say something like in support of the Black community, I will preach love and spread love in the Black community, but I'm not gonna tear like somebody else's relationship down. Like Childish Gambino, he's still a Black man talking about the Black man experience in America. Dating like being with a white woman doesn't make him any less Black. He just happened to fall in love with someone whose skin is lighter than his. And no, she might not entirely understand his struggle, which that's their relationship thing to deal with. That's their thing to deal with, and it's none of our business. And that's what it comes down to. It's none of our business. Like on Sideline Source, I talk about the Kaepernick issue in the NFL. And though I discuss it and I go into it and I pull tweets from Twitter about it, I'm not making Sideline Source a Black project. It's not only going to talk about Black people in sports and how the man's trying to keep our Black athletes down. My entire thing is not going to be a Black project. I am talking about this one thing going on in our community that we need to change, that needs to be supported and fixed. But I'm not going to turn my entire life into being Black. Like, being Black is not who I am in entirety. It may be who oppressors see me as at like first approach. And that's another issue that needs to be dealt with, but that's not who I am. And if I make everything about me, if I define myself as a Black woman and nothing more, and that everything I need to do from this point on is being a Black woman and what other people think being Black is about, and I can't listen to country music or go to Warped Tour or EDC because these are predominantly white like activities. That's just, no, I'm not doing that because I love Warped Tour and I want to go to EDC and I want to live my life how I live my life. And at the end of the day, your happiness should come first unless your happiness is hurting someone else. If you're like, I'm happy murdering people, that's not what I'm talking about. But But if you're like, I'm happy listening to rock music and being a Black emo kid, then fine. Be happy. Like, as long as your happiness doesn't hurt anybody else, then you have all the right in the world to be happy. And that's something we need to preach more and stop putting down people for just living their lives.
Yeah, I don't think we let each other be happy. I don't think we let ourselves be happy. A lot of that, I think, comes from looking at everybody else and comparing our struggles to everyone else's struggles, you know? Like I was saying, I prefaced my whole thing earlier by I was raised military, so I didn't have as much money and blah, blah, blah. That is definitely the mindset in a lot of things, is that I was running youth group at my church for a while, and these were kids who really needed support. These kids really needed somebody who cared and loved them, you know? And even the kids, they were like, oh, you talk funny, why are you talking white? And I knew they were just kids, you know, so I didn't take it personally. But they've already been taught by the world that this is where they are, here at the bottom. And you need to make sure you're here. And if you speak like white people speak, then you're not being you. And that we need to stay down there. You know, I definitely worry about, you know, just the possibility of us one day getting way out of this situation, you know, being the top class in the country or in the world or whatever. I don't know. If that were to come to fruition, would we be happy about that? You know, in the sense that there are a lot of white people who press on their issues, the things that they have in their life, whether it's money or their sexuality or mental illnesses that they have, and they push those things so hard because I'm oppressed too, you know, and that it's that feeling as though they just want to be in pain too because I'm excluded from this because I'm white. And it gets kind of uncomfortable because we're all talking about our stuff and you're just like, well, yeah, but mine is blah, blah, blah. I totally understand you, Black people, you people of color. I totally get it, right? And it's just like nobody needs you to be that. You go be yourself, you know? But in these instances, we do that to each other sometimes, that it's like we need to be more in pain, you know? And if you're at that level where you have all this money and you're just enjoying your life, you need to know, you need to be constantly making things different for everybody else, because you can't just accept your accomplishments and then just live your life like everybody else does. You need to do things that will help everybody else. You need to do things that will remind everybody else that I'm still black. Don't forget, I'm still in this even though I'm rich. I don't think we should have to do that. We shouldn't have to. I was fortunate enough to get a good job and be able to pay my bills. Therefore, I need to remind other people that there is still parts of me that struggle, that cops still look at me funny. If I lived in a world where cops didn't look at me funny, like, we were going to talk about Deadpool earlier and we changed our mind. The Domino in Deadpool, I love her character because she is a black woman who has the power of luck. And so she's probably never been harassed by the cops. She's probably never been racially profiled. Her life is lucky. And I love that they made her a black woman, because that's a superpower that none of us get to have, that black women especially don't get to have. So it was cool to see her just being herself, that she was really in that mindset of, and I think this is all to her. I doubt the writers of this movie cared enough, but the way she portrayed that character, it definitely showed that feeling of, well, yeah, I'm a black woman and I just don't have to worry about any of these things, That's cool, but I feel like if she was real, there would be people who would dislike her just kind of her just open attitude, her just me kind of attitude, because she hasn't had these horrible things happen to her. Therefore, she is less than, and therefore she doesn't get it because she doesn't get harassed by the cops, There are parts of me before that actually happened for the first time where I was pulled over for no reason and harassed, that I wanted that to happen because then I could have a personal experience. And now that it has happened many times, I hate that, because it was scary and I didn't like it, but it was like a rite of passage, I had to get some bad stuff to happen to me first, before I could get in the club. Now I got my black card because the world has treated me horribly. The few black people, like the few black people that are in the world. Exactly. Like my dad, he grew up in Germany, so he was very, it's, people just work hard, America's a great place, until Trump got elected, and I could see how that spirit was just killed, and he's not as happy when it comes to those things. And he used to not want us to say, white people this, white people that, because he didn't want to judge people, because his upbringing didn't involve that kind of judgment directly, he didn't have to deal with that all the time. I used to feel like, oh, well, he doesn't get it, or he's naive. No, he's not. He was just very, very fortunate to not have had a really tough, painful childhood. But we're gonna fault him for that because my childhood sucked and yours didn't, and therefore you're not in the club. Like, that's, I don't know, that's depressing.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it comes down to do what you love, do what makes you happy, and don't hurt others. And support. And if you are black, support up-and-coming black artists, support black work, support the black community, because it's hard to get others to support us.
Yeah.
So we should
don't not
at
support
least be
black
supporting
issues.
ourselves.
Yeah. Don't not do that. But if you happen to go into Starbucks this week, don't feel like you're a shitty person because this was the only coffee place in the area. I think that's what it is that we should participate in stuff, but if you don't want to, I don't think you should feel like you're betraying your community because you're frequenting a store that is in your area that is readily available and there aren't a whole lot of other options, so you just need to be without because we've agreed that you shouldn't be. I don't think you should at the same time just be like, oh, well, fuck that boycott. It doesn't matter that they were treated badly. I'm not saying you should do that either, but I don't think we should be drawing such definite lines in the sand. This is what makes you black and this is what doesn't. Today, being black involves not going to Starbucks, so we all need to scramble and stop doing that thing because, we're gonna have a Dragons of Melgore meeting next week with some of our artists, and we're gonna meet at Starbucks. That's what Steve was like, yeah, set the meeting, let them know we'll just meet on the Starbucks on Montgomery. And I was like, okay. And then I thought about it on the train ride home, and I was like, oh, but we're meeting at Starbucks. I don't want to go into Starbucks.
But I'm black.
I don't like Starbucks. I don't really want to go, but there's other coffee shops, I guess, but everybody knows where the Starbucks is. Maybe we should just meet there. It'd just be easier, you know? Yeah. Or am I going to turn the entirety of this project around to get a different coffee place solely because I need to not go to Starbucks? Like, I don't know. I think that's a lot. I'm bending over backwards between my legs and back around twice so that I can be in the cause, you know, that I can be supporting my people and everything, you know, mind, body, and soul. Like, I don't know. It's a lot.
Just do what you love, man. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah,
you're craving a caramel
we just
frappe.
Gotta be ourselves, and if you're happy and you're being a successful Black person, then you're helping the cause. And whether you are reminding people every 2 seconds that you're doing this and that it's important that you are doing this because you are Black and a lot of Black people don't, I think it's cool that we're just us, you know. One thing to shout out real quick before we go is it's I think it's called The Marvelous. It's not Jessica Jones, or is it? It might be Jessica Jones. It's just not the Marvel one. But it's on Netflix. Watch that. I can't think of. I'm pretty sure her first name is Jessica, but she was she's kind of like a side person on like the Today Show or the Daily Show, one of those. She's a great comedian, but it's a movie on Netflix just about her, and she dates this white guy for a period of time, and none of them bring up the race issue. The movie doesn't bring up the race issue. Her ex-boyfriend is a Black man, and there's a certain point in there, without spoiling too much, there's a certain point where she kind of has like these dream sequences, and it's like he is... The boyfriend keeps coming back to her to like apologize for the stuff he did in her dreams, and this white guy runs up to him and is like, hey, is this woman bothering you? Do you need me to call the police? And he's just like, no, it's fine. He's like, I'm calling the cops, you know, because this Black lady is talking to this Black man, and this white guy shows up, and I can tell the joke was there, but they didn't draw attention to it, and it was really cool that a movie just happened and there was clearly something there, but they just casted two people that they liked, and this guy was a white guy and this girl was a Black girl, and they dated, and they didn't have to have that conversation. And yes, that's a fiction. Yes, there's no white man Black woman combo where that combo is never gonna come up on the first or other dates, but it was cool that the movie wasn't about that. It was still very pro-Black, and it was still very like supporting of Black women empowerment, but it was not stating that it was. It was just a movie about this girl and her journey with this relationship and this ex, and that was it. And the movie ended, and there were no Black Power fists, there was no red, black, and green, there was nothing. She was just herself. Her style was her style. You know, comparing that to something like She's Gotta Have It, where it's not even a Black story, but there's so much in there that's injected that is, she's a Black woman, she's a Black woman, she's a Black woman. That's great. You know, there's nothing wrong with that show, but just that is such an integral part of her character is the Black part, whereas the integral part of Jessica Jones's character is just herself and her quirkiness and her, you know. I don't know. I think that's missing in a lot of things, and I would definitely like to make things that are starring Black people that aren't all about their Blackness. That's just Black people enjoying life, or Black people just having struggles of their own, you know, that are just there. I think we definitely need more of that if we're going to survive, because I don't think we can focus on the negativities of our experience all the time and not continue in that. It's not saying we shouldn't talk about those things, but I think it's nice to have somebody like Childish Gambino that just makes some fun rap, you know, and it's not everything isn't about, you know, either the stereotypes or about I'm a rapper who talks about important Black issues. He just,
and let's stop pulling negative things out of positive things, like Childish Gambino makes his video, This Is America, and we go, but you're with a white woman. Like, what is that? Let's just uplift this Black man's work. Let's uplift the message that he's trying to send instead of pointing out and nitpicking every little thing that makes him less of a Black man. Like, we're not doing our community any good.
Yeah. That black dude
Let
that
people
scaled
have
that
passions.
building, you know, he scaled 7 stories to grab that kid, but there was a black kid on the other side of the building that he didn't know about, and that black kid didn't get saved. So, you know, it would be like that, you know, you did an awesome thing and saved a child selflessly, but you could have done something for your community and you didn't, so you're not as awesome. Like, you're not
Africa,
Spider-Man
save some kid in
anymore.
Africa. Why aren't you scaling walls in Africa? Like,
yeah, exactly. How Black Panther, a great film that has helped and supported us and all in the global black community, and it wasn't shot in Africa, and so people were pissed off. Most movies aren't shot anywhere anymore. They're all sound stages in Hollywood because everything is CG.
Done in Wakanda?
And people were mad. People didn't want to watch the movie. People wanted to boycott. Our own people were against it because this was not shot in Africa.
It was shot in a place that was best for the scene.
Yeah.
Like, they needed to find something that was visually appealing and that was best for the work. Like, when it comes to projects like that, it can't be black through and through. It's a black superhero in a black, like, community or kingdom or world or whatever you want to call it. It's a black movie. And you can't, and the fact that we nitpick it that much is just depressing. Like, appreciate
it's still a black movie regardless of where it was put together, you know, it's still a black movie. It's still awesome.
They didn't make Black Panther Tom Cruise. Like, let's calm down.
They made something that was near perfect, and we're gonna stifle it because this one thing could have been this. Because then the movie that was made in Africa, we'd be pointing out what country each of the people was from, and that they didn't have enough, all of the black actors that are here, but we're upset because a lot of those black actors are British, and so why don't you have black American actors? We do. There's a lot of British ones too. A lot of the white actors are from Britain or from Canada. Like, all our actors are from other places, but there's a lot of people that are mad.
Yeah, it's not like they said, like, Black Panther lives in the suburbs of North Las Vegas, and fights crime at night. Like, what is that? No. Like, it was still a black movie. I believe they were in Africa, even if they weren't in Africa. Like, it was represented very well and very, like, it was full of culture, and it was an amazing film for me. And the fact that people still found something to boycott shows that you have nothing better to do with your time, and you just sit at home like, ooh, beautiful black project. How can I tear this down? Like, no. I need you to support things. Preach love, spread love, love everyone around you.
And
do
nothing
not
is
hurt
perfect.
Others. Don't tear down projects.
Yeah, and nothing's perfect, and nothing is gonna depict something.
Nothing's ever gonna be perfect.
Yeah, like we said with 13 Reasons, this wasn't a show that was based around mental illness, but it possibly could have been, but it didn't touch on that as much as other people wanted it to, so they're upset because this show is wrong. Well, no, it's just a show. It's just a show adapting a story that's already been written. It's not necessarily bad because it's not also talking about all these other topics. I think the same thing about the Star Wars movies, about everything, you know. I saw Solo. I thought it was pretty good. It was all right, you know. It could have been a bunch of other stuff. I think they should have made a Lando movie straight up and had featuring Solo. That's what I thought they should have done from the beginning, but they didn't. So, okay, you know, I have to accept what's on the screen. I can't make everything in the world me.
If Solo was all about Lando, then people would have been pissed because that's not the title of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we should have featured, like, the black guy more because he's black. Like, no. It's about Han Solo. I didn't come here to hear Lando's story. Like, cool, he's in it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, there are black movies that are out there that do that, and we could be focusing on those, but we're not. You know, like black people that are so against, you know, trap and other modern hip hop, you know, derivatives because they're bad when there are a million underground artists that are still creating really great work, but you're not listening to them because you're complaining about what's on the radio and what's popular. there are other black people that are creating things that we're not paying attention to right now because we're mad that Black Panther wasn't blah, blah, blah. All these other black people that need funding for their movies, we're not going to their GoFundMe accounts, though. Yeah. We're not helping them out, but we'll be pissed off because a big budget movie made by Disney was not catering 100% to us with literally everything that they did, even though they have a global audience. Like, I'm not surprised by that, you know? I'm happy at how much they were able to cater to us, you know? But I'm not going to stifle it. I'm not going to stifle the creativity of everybody that was involved but they could have had this, that, and the other, you know? The fact that a white guy helped them out and was really integral to their final plan, people were pissed off about that. That was the one big thing involving a white person that happened in the entire film. I think I can let it go that he shot one plane out the sky and all the other black people did all this other stuff. I don't think they didn't put him on the throne at the end of the movie, you know? Like, if they had done that, it would have been a big deal.
You are the new king of Wakanda.
That would have been crazy. But they didn't do that. Like, it was still good. Like, I don't know.
I think at the end of the day, the message shouldn't be, like, black people are better or, like, black people need to, like, take over or it needs to be 100% black. The message should be spread love, preach love, and just love. No one's better. No one's, like, let's stop giving privilege to people and let's just make good content. Like, can we do that? Can we make genuine, culturally appropriate, like, content? Yeah. Like, that's all I want at the end of the day. I want, like, Asian characters to be Asian and not Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. I want, like, Wakanda to be Wakanda. No matter where they put Wakanda, it's still a made-up place. Let's put it where it's visually appealing. Like, let's just make good content and spread love and not bash anyone. Let's stop destroying content. Stop nitpicking content. If it's not, like, outwardly or clearly hurting a race of people, if it's not obvious cultural appropriation, if they didn't make Black Panther a white man, like Brad Pitt didn't come out and be like, I am the king of Wakanda. Yeah. Like, no, if it's not that, then let's just let it go.
White and Baku comes out. It's I hear it's challenge day. I'm here to challenge you.
My calendar says
Tala. I'm here to challenge you.
What's my name again? Who are you? Mabaku? Mabaku?
Yeah, my name is Mabaku.
Mabaku.
Or Mabaka.
Like, they didn't cast, like, Josh Brolin as Mbaku. Like,
that would have been so funny. to fully CG a big black man.
What you doing here,
with
Thanos?
Josh Brolin. Like... Just a smaller Thanos who's black. Same exact face, except it's him as I'm Mbaku.
I can't. Coming for the right to the throne. Like, it wasn't enough to get the Infinity Stones. I need the throne.
Yeah. I also need to throw this one man off a cliff. But on that note, thank you guys for listening to Bantucentric. You can find me at Buck Rivers Film on Twitter. And please also follow Imagine Only Productions. And you can find Cheyenne
at CHEY Productions, Shy Productions on Twitter, Instagram, and you can also find me on Twitter at Sideline Source and on YouTube. I also have YouTube channels, website, CheyenneFinch.com. I got a lot of stuff. Just find Cheyenne Finch on every social media account you have.
And we should be on iTunes pretty soon. I've put in the request. We'll see if they pick up our podcast for it. And I'm also working on Spotify. So if it's been difficult for your friends that you definitely sent our awesome podcast to get a hold of it, please let them know that it will be on other networks as soon as I possibly can.
Thanks for the support, guys.
Yes, thank you. And as always, stay woke.
And stay Bantu.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Bantucentric is brought to you by Imagine Only Productions.